When Emma Turner first got married, she thought she had a pretty good handle on what married life would be like. She'd read all the relationship blogs, watched countless TikToks on wife life hacks, and even made Pinterest boards labeled Happy Home in 2025. But no one had prepared her for the reality of juggling it all: a full-time remote marketing job, 2 kids under 8, and a husband, Jake, who worked unpredictable shifts as a firefighter. By the time the clock hit 9 p.m. most nights, Emma was exhausted. The laundry sat unfolded, dinner dishes waited in the sink, and the kids' shoes were somehow always in the wrong place. Her home looked like a tornado had passed through it. She used to joke with Jake that her coffee mug should say, "Running on caffeine, chaos, and Wi-Fi." One Wednesday night, while the kids were asleep and Jake was on duty, Emma found herself doom scrolling on her phone, desperate for something, anything, that could make her life easier. That's when she saw the headline glowing on her screen: Wife Hacks Americans Swear By, 2025 edition. Curiosity kicked in. She clicked. The post wasn't your average list of clean your microwave with vinegar kind of tips. It was a collection of real, modern-day lifesavers shared by wives from all over the US, women balancing work, family, and personal sanity in a world that moved way too fast. The first hack came from a woman in Texas who swore by the 15-minute rule. The idea was simple: spend just 15 minutes tidying up a room instead of trying to clean the entire house in one go. Emma laughed at how obvious it sounded, but she gave it a try the next morning. To her surprise, the quick session made her kitchen sparkle just enough to feel peaceful. For the first time in weeks, she had breakfast without feeling guilty about the mess. The next hack was what really caught her attention: the Family Command Center. A wife from Seattle had transformed a section of her hallway into a one-stop station for calendars, to-do lists, and school reminders. Emma loved it. That weekend, she drove to Target, bought a big whiteboard, a corkboard, and a few pastel markers. Within hours, her wall looked like something straight out of a home organization show. Each family member had their own color: blue for Jake, green for her, orange for Liam, and pink for Sophie. Suddenly, chaos turned into coordination. Jake noticed it the moment he walked in that night. "Whoa," he said, staring at the wall. "This looks professional." Emma grinned, holding up her marker like a magic wand. "Welcome to the future, babe, 2025 edition." The following week, she dove deeper into the hacks. There was batch cooking Sundays, from a mom in Ohio who prepared all her meals for the week on one day. There was also tech-free hour, a game changer from a wife in California who said putting all devices away for just 1 hour every evening transformed her marriage. Emma was skeptical at first. She and Jake often spent their evenings in silence, scrolling side by side. But she decided to try it. The first night, Jake looked confused. "You sure? No phones?" "Yep," she said firmly, taking his phone and placing it face down. "Just you, me, and some actual conversation." It felt awkward at first. But then they started talking, really talking, about their dreams, their frustrations, and how much they missed slow moments. By the end of that hour, Jake had his arm around her, laughing about the old days when they'd talk for hours without ever glancing at a screen. That became their new ritual. As weeks passed, Emma kept testing new wife hacks. One of her favorites was the Sunday Reset, which involved setting aside 2 hours every Sunday to plan meals, organize schedules, and prep the house for the week ahead. It wasn't glamorous, but it made Mondays feel less like chaos and more like control. Then came affection reminders, a trend sweeping across social media. A Florida wife had shared how she and her husband set random phone alarms labeled things like, "Give him a hug," or, "Say something kind." Emma laughed at first but decided to set one just for fun. When the alarm went off mid-afternoon, she walked over to Jake, hugged him, and said, "You're my favorite human." He blinked, then smiled. "Okay, what's that about?" "Just a reminder," she said, shrugging. The look on his face told her it worked. Before long, her friends started noticing changes too. Her best friend, Sarah, called her one morning and said, "Girl, your house looks like it's straight out of a YouTube vlog. What are you doing differently?" Emma laughed. "It's not magic, it's hacks. American wife hacks. 2025 style." But the biggest transformation wasn't her home, it was her mindset. These weren't just tricks to save time. They were small, thoughtful habits that helped her reclaim control over her life. Emma felt more balanced, more connected, and for the first time in a long time, genuinely happy. One night, while writing in her journal, she reflected on everything. Marriage in 2025, she wrote, isn't about being perfect. It's about being smart, about adapting, about finding joy in the middle of the mess. She smiled as she thought about how much she'd grown. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was thriving. When Jake came home that night and found her sipping tea with a soft smile, he asked, "You look peaceful. What's your secret?" Emma looked up, winked, and said, "Just a few hacks Americans swear by." He laughed. "Well, whatever they are, keep them coming. You're glowing lately." And she was. Not because her house was spotless or her to-do list was empty, but because she finally found balance, the kind that no app or gadget could provide. Just the little wisdom shared by real women, living real lives, one hack at a time. As she turned off her phone and snuggled next to Jake, Emma realized something simple yet profound. The best wife hack of all was learning to slow down, love deeply, and live intentionally. Tomorrow would bring another round of messes, emails, and surprises. But she was ready, because 2025 was her year of peace, purpose, and partnership. And deep down, she knew every woman out there could use a few good hacks to make it their year too. By spring, Emma had become something of a legend in her neighborhood, the woman who cracked the code of modern marriage. Her friends would text her things like, "Hey, what's that meal prep hack you were talking about?" Or, "How do you convince your husband to do a tech-free night?" She'd smile, sip her iced coffee, and send back voice notes full of encouragement. But what started as a few clever tricks soon turned into something deeper. Emma realized that these wife hacks weren't just about efficiency, they were about connection, mindset, and rediscovering the lost art of living intentionally in a world that was always rushing. Her most profound lesson came one Saturday morning in May. She was getting ready for her weekend reset, her favorite part of the week, coffee brewing, soft music playing, kids still asleep. As she reached for her planner, she noticed Jake leaning against the doorframe, watching her with a grin. "What?" she asked, smiling. He shrugged. "Just watching my organized wife do her thing." "You've changed, Em." "Changed how?" "You're calmer, happier. Even when things go wrong, you don't freak out like before." "What's your secret formula?" She laughed. "It's not a formula, it's perspective. You'd be surprised what 15 minutes of decluttering in one tech-free dinner can do to your soul." Jake walked over and kissed her forehead. "Well, whatever you're doing, it's working. The kids even said you're more fun now." Emma chuckled. "Really? Guess the hacks are paying off." That night, while the kids watched a movie, Emma opened her laptop and decided to write her own post in the Modern Wives of America group, the same community where her transformation began. She titled it, "Wife Hacks That Actually Work, My 2025 Survival Guide." She began typing, her fingers moving with confidence. "Hi ladies, I've tried every hack under the sun this year, from 15-minute cleaning bursts to digital detox hours. Some flopped, some changed my life. Here's what worked best for me." She broke it down into sections: mindset hacks, marriage hacks, home hacks, and self-care hacks. Under mindset hacks, she wrote, "Start your mornings with gratitude instead of social media. Before you open your phone, think of 3 things you're thankful for. It sets the tone for the whole day. I used to start my mornings scrolling, and it always made me feel behind before I even began. Now, I feel grounded." For marriage hacks, she added, "Never underestimate the power of tiny gestures. Compliment your husband, touch his arm when he talks, send a random, thinking of you, text. These small things build emotional glue stronger than any grand romantic gesture." When she reached self-care hacks, she paused. This was the one she struggled with the most. She wrote honestly, "Ladies, self-care isn't bubble baths and candles, it's setting boundaries. It's saying no when your plate is full. It's leaving the dishes for tomorrow because your sanity matters more than spotless counters." I learned this the hard way. Her post ended up being raw, heartfelt, and real, nothing filtered, nothing performative. She hit post and went to bed. The next morning, she woke up to hundreds of notifications. Her post had gone viral. Women from across America were commenting, sharing their own hacks, thanking her for her honesty. One comment stood out, greater than, "Emma, I was drowning. Your post reminded me it's okay to not have it all figured out. Thank you for making real wife life feel seen again." Emma teared up. She didn't expect her words to hit home for so many people. But it made sense. every woman she knew was silently juggling the same storm. That day, she got an idea. She started a small online group called Real Wife Energy, 2025 edition. It wasn't about perfection, it was about sharing real-life hacks, from emotional resilience to meal shortcuts. Within a month, it had thousands of members. Women from all over, nurses, teachers, stay-at-home moms, entrepreneurs, all came together to swap ideas and support each other. One woman shared a mood reset box idea, a little basket filled with calming tea, a journal, and headphones for when you're overwhelmed. Another shared a spouse swap list, not what it sounded like, just a weekly list of tasks you trade with your partner so both sides learn appreciation. It became a movement. Soon, local news picked up the story. Local mom sparks nationwide, Real Wife Energy, movement, read the headline. Reporters asked Emma how it all began. She smiled and said, with one article about wife hacks, "I just took it seriously." But Emma's biggest surprise came from Jake. One evening, as they sat on the porch, he handed her a small wrapped box. "You've been working hard," he said. "You deserve this." Inside was a delicate gold bracelet engraved with 3 words, Real Wife Energy. She laughed and touched his hand. "You're such a sap." "Hey," he said, smiling, "if you can inspire half the women in America, the least I can do is cheer you on." Their relationship had deepened in ways she hadn't imagined. They weren't just partners anymore, they were teammates, friends, and co-creators of the life they wanted. Emma realized something profound that night. Being a wife in 2025 wasn't about fitting into an old-fashioned mold. It was about rewriting the script, with grace, teamwork, and humor. A few months later, she gave a talk at a local women's conference titled, How Small Hacks Can Save Your Sanity and Your Marriage. She stood on stage, nervous but proud, sharing her story. She spoke about balance, burnout, and love. She reminded the audience that, hack, didn't mean cutting corners, it meant finding smarter, kinder ways to live. When she finished, the crowd gave her a standing ovation. Dozens of women came up afterward, some teary-eyed, saying how her story gave them hope. Driving home that night, Emma rolled down the windows and let the cool summer air hit her face. She thought back to that first night, the chaos, the exhaustion, the late-night scrolling that had led her here. "Funny," she said to herself with a smile, "all I wanted was to clean my kitchen faster." But she'd ended up changing her entire life. Now, every time she posted a new hack online, she ended it with her signature phrase. Greater than, because in 2025, we don't just survive, we hack our way to happiness. And somewhere out there, another tired wife would read those words, smile through the exhaustion, and think, if she can do it, so can I. That's what made it all worth it, the ripple effect. One shared story at a time, one small hack at a time, women were reclaiming their balance, their laughter, and their peace. Emma didn't just live the Wife Hacks Americans Swear By 2025 edition. She became it, a living reminder that no matter how busy life gets, love, laughter, and a few clever tricks can keep everything, and everyone, beautifully together.